Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Monday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. How did everybody's weekend go? I know mine personally went well. Just talking, sports outside of the Pittsburgh realm here. My Pitt Panthers, they won, beat the absolute living hell out of Boston College. They might have the next one in Mr. Mason Heichsel, probably butchered his name. West Virginia, they lost in football. Penn State got embarrassed by UCLA, and the MLB playoffs, even though the Pittsburgh Pirates aren't in them, have been quite entertaining. Now, bringing this back to a Pittsburgh state of mind here, if you are a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers especially, I bet you had a fantastic weekend, probably the best, most stress-free weekend of your life. And the Steelers, they didn't even play. We are going to break everything down here in a matter of moments, going from the Steelers' divisional opponents and how they did over the weekend. That will be then followed by an injury update today on some key Steelers players. Mostly good news on that front. After that, we will get into some hockey talk. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they kick off their season tomorrow night against the New York Rangers. Final roster cuts for them were made over the weekend. So what their roster looks like heading into this game, we will talk about in a little bit. And then after all that, any extra Pittsburgh sports news that we happen to come across along the way, we will discuss. But before we get things on the road officially here to kick off this awesome week of sports ahead, if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Please hit that like button, share this live stream, and in the comment section, get any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you may have in the comment section. We got a commenter already in here, Extra BLK. Welcome there, Extra. Like everyone, Steelers Nation waiting for a wide receiver trade. Yeah, we will talk a little bit about the wide receivers there, Extra. Calvin Austin, he will be mentioned in the injury updates a little bit here into the show. So what are the Steelers going to do with him out? You're just one injury away to DK Metcalf from having your wide receiver room be Ben Skoranek, Scotty Miller, and a vanishing every single week Roman Wilson. So, I would like them to address a wide receiver trade, Extra. Trust me, I would. There's a lot of good candidates out there. Chris Olave with the Saints. The Saints aren't going anywhere. He could get traded. The Raiders, they keep on, sucking right now. Could Jacoby Myers, could that trade scenario be revisited? There's tons of teams with good wide receivers right now that are really sputtering or just flat out already out of contention this year that I would like to see them, or the Steelers, go out and maybe give a call or two about. So we will discuss that there. But, like you said there, Steeler Nation waiting for a wide receiver trade. At least we are waiting for that to happen in a good position right now. That is where we start off today's show, ladies and gentlemen. The Steelers with a win. I'm going to call this a Victory Monday. Even though the Steelers did not play, we're going to count it. It's a Victory Monday here in Western Pennsylvania. After going across the pond last weekend, handling business against the Minnesota Vikings in Dublin, the Steelers this weekend, they just had one job. That was to sit back, heal up a little bit for some injured guys, and relax and watch what else goes on around the league. While the Steelers and us were doing that, we did tune into the NFL slate of games yesterday with much attention, particularly on the three games involving AFC North teams. We just talked about the Steelers going and playing the Vikings over in Dublin last weekend. The Vikings stayed over there, but they were in London yesterday morning taking on the Cleveland Browns. So the Browns, they say hi to us, probably give us the finger as our flight's going back to the States. They're on their way out. Talking a little bit about that game yesterday to start off there. The Browns, not only are the Browns, next up on the Steelers schedule this upcoming Sunday, but they also yesterday started their third-round pick rookie, Dylan Gabriel. And Gabriel, had an all right day. 19 of 33 isn't going to blow anyone away, 190 yards passing, but he did have 2 passing touchdowns and did look like he had, some semblance of what he was doing out there. Another rookie, though, for the Browns that I am very impressed with. I was high on this dude coming out of the draft, and, after a couple game, not suspension, but a couple games off with some stuff off the field, he's looked every bit as good as I thought that he was in college. Quinshon Judkins, 23 carries yesterday for 110 yards. So the Browns yesterday go over to the Vikings, starting a rookies at quarterback and running back. They looked all right. They led for a good portion of that game, but with the Browns rookies showing some promise, they still found a way to lose in typical Browns fashion yesterday. I believe they were up 3 minutes or under 3 minutes left in the ball game, and they allowed the same Carson Wentz, who your Pittsburgh Steelers made look like he's washed last week, and they allowed Wentz in the Minnesota Vikings offense, which had no offensive line, by the way, go down the field an 80-yard game-winning touchdown drive. Browns, when they got the ball back, they had no time to do so. So the Vikings pulling out a 21-17 win yesterday over the Cleveland Browns, doing us a favor after, we kind of beat them last weekend. By the way, talking about how impressive that was for the Vikings and how bad that was for the Browns, I just mentioned they had a banged up offensive line. That O-line, 3 missing starters. Steelers saw that offensive line, for the most part last weekend. So they were missing 3 starters plus the backup center. So they got 2 backups in there plus their third string center. They held the Browns to just 3 sacks yesterday, with everyone's favorite PFF analytical darling, Myles Garrett, having a big old goose egg in the sack department. So that's good news. That a Vikings banged up O-line held the Browns defense, which was supposed to be outstanding. Weren't they the best rushing defense in the league? They were just, absolutely insane, that Browns defense, and the Vikings offense just, made them look like they weren't going to stop anything. So play the Browns coming up this weekend. In conclusion with that game, the Browns browned, and we look forward to their arrival in Pittsburgh this upcoming weekend. I'm sure Steelers, not only are they going to have the advantage of rest with the bye week in that game, also the Browns no bye after their London game, so they're going to be coming back off the jet, needing to adjust to a time change again. No week off to get fully readjusted to United States time. So the Steelers, they have a hell of an advantage there. I just hope they take care of it. After Minnesota took on Cleveland, we then moved into the 1 o'clock window, ladies and gentlemen, with the Lamar Jackson-less, Roquan Smith-less, Ronnie Stanley-less, Marlon Humphrey-less, pretty much anyone worth a damn-less. Baltimore Ravens, they at home took on the Houston Texans yesterday. This game over before it started. The Texans, they just came out and boat raced the Ravens for 4 straight quarters. Final score 44-10 in that game. Wouldn't you know it, Cooper Rush, backup quarterback for the Ravens, looked like ass. Who would have thought it? Cooper Rush, who has a skill set that doesn't match up with what the Ravens offense is designed around whatsoever. Wouldn't you know it failed? So that's a real shocker there. Ravens, their offense with Cooper Rush looked awful. He threw 3 interceptions. Also, the Ravens defense, they continue to equally look as god-awful as in their 4 losses. They're 1-4 now in the season. In their 4 losses, the Ravens defense has given up 41, 38, 37, and 44 points, respectively, in those games. I'm going to be honest, they are staring a 1-5 start in the face right now, and I'm not even sure if this team is fully healthy that, they can avoid that, because, losing your quarterback and pretty much all your good starters on defense, that's really going to, hobble you and challenge you to get wins. But the Ravens, even if they were healthy, they just haven't looked like the team of old. They look like they don't give a damn, quite honestly, out there. And that, 44-10 score is reflective of that. I don't think John Harbaugh's message is getting through to him. He is on a hell of a hot seat right now, in my opinion. And yeah, their defensive coordinator, Zach Orr, he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing there at the DC spot. They're giving up at least, around 40 points a game. So that's bad. But yeah, the Ravens, they are in a tough spot right now. As I say, they're staring 1-5 in the face. I say that because they got the LA Rams next up on their schedule, and they look like a well-oiled machine right now. So yeah, not good in Ravens land right now. They are quickly looking like last year's Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion, but with a worse offense. I'm not going to write the Ravens off yet because we almost did the same thing last year, and wouldn't you know it, Steelers, they were sitting good. Ravens were behind them. All of a sudden, flip of the switch, Ravens jumped the Steelers as they were sliding. So not going to say that yet, but man, they look in a very, very rough position right now. Speaking of the Cincinnati Bengals, who I just said the Ravens look like, the Bengals, they had just as good of luck against the juggernaut known as the Detroit Lions. They lost that matchup 37-24 yesterday. And if there was ever a score that did not reflect how the game went, it would be this score, 37-24. It was not even close from start to finish. Lions got up to a 28-3 lead at one point. The Bengals, they just ended up scoring, I think, 3 fourth quarter touchdowns, but I'm not going to take that as a sign that they are turning things around. Jake Browning still looked terrible, 3 interceptions, and their defense, the Bengals, still Jekyll and Hyde at best. So, yeah, Bengals, they ran into a buzzsaw in the Lions. Not much going well for them, especially with Joe Burrow out for the season. Speaking of that, to sum up just how this Bengals team is altogether, I heard this beauty of a stat on 93.7 The Fan this afternoon. Bengals head coach, Zach Taylor, which I have sniffed out that he was a fraud pretty much from the beginning. I think that Super Bowl that the Bengals made was a complete and total fluke and a one-off. I think where it's fair to say that. I mean, hell, they haven't even been close in recent years. So Zach Taylor, in his coaching career, without Joe Burrow as his quarterback, this is his record, and it is outstanding. And it really puts you into perspective. You can criticize Mike Tomlin all you want for his, just getting a winning season and then flaming out in the playoffs. At least Tomlin doesn't just, crumble and completely disintegrate when his starting quarterback goes out, because Zach Taylor, 4 wins, 31 losses, and 1 tie in his coaching career without Joe Burrow as his starting quarterback. I also heard, what the record is with Burrow. It's a winning record, I believe, but 4-31-1 without Joe Burrow is Zach Taylor's record as a coach. That is that is outstanding. You see that and you got to wonder, ever since that Super Bowl when they were just one block of Aaron Donald away from winning the Super Bowl, why they didn't, fix the O-line after all these years. But yeah, they haven't fixed it. Joe Burrow still gets hurt with them, seems like every single year. And the Bengals just simply do not win without him. So very, very rough stat on the mantle of Zach Taylor. I'm sure that little stat, coupled with the fact that the Bengals offense is really turning the ball over right now, that has the Steelers salivating, I'm sure, for their next matchup, which is coming up on Thursday. Not this Thursday, next Thursday. So the Steelers, they begin their in-division slate of games. Browns, this upcoming Sunday, short week, then they go on the road to Cincinnati. They take on the Bengals and Jake Browning next Thursday. So, yeah, Steelers going up against 2 AFC North teams here in the span of the next 10 days. All 3 AFC North teams lost yesterday. No matter what happened this weekend, honestly, with any of these teams, the Steelers, they would still be sitting in first place in the division right now. So all three of them losing is just icing on the cake. According to Kalshi Sports, not familiar with their work. I'm sure they're a betting site of some sort. The Steelers, they now have a 46% chance of winning the AFC North this year. So this weekend, put the Steelers in the driver's seat to win the division. But the great weekend for the Black and Gold, it did not end there as well. Both New York teams harboring the Steelers starting quarterbacks from last year. They are still ass, I believe, combined between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. They're 0-6 as starters this season. The Denver Broncos, I believe, exposed a good bit of flaws in the in-state team, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New England Patriots, who the Steelers just beat 2 weekends ago. They showed that the Buffalo Bills are mortal and might have shown that, hey, it is Josh Allen, and he is trying to make everything work around him because he ain't getting much help. So, everything that happened this weekend, Bengals, Browns, Ravens, Eagles, Bills, the New York teams, all those teams losing, and, potentially adding on tonight, Monday Night Football is going to be on here at 8 o'clock. If you potentially add on the Jacksonville Jaguars, if they can keep the Kansas City Chiefs sputtering, dare I say the Steelers, they might not only be in the driver's seat to win the AFC North, they could also be in a damn good spot to make a run for the number 1 seed in the AFC. I mean, after the slate of games we watched yesterday, if the Steelers can continue building on what they've done, especially in the last 2 games before the bye, and not, come spinning wheels out of the bye week, I don't think that there's a team in the AFC side that they cannot beat here. I think all teams have shown their warts at this point. There's not one clear juggernaut team above the rest, at least in the AFC. I'd say, the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over in the NFC. I'd say they're pretty solid right now with, not much flaws to their game. But AFC side, this thing for the Steelers, I think it's a wide open race for the number 1 seed right now. And if the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers can continue playing the way that they have, continue to keep stacking wins and building on what they did in the first half of the season, they got a good chance to do some great things heading into playoffs. But we're not there yet. I'm not going to jinx myself, not going to pull an Adam Schefter, who sent out a tweet yesterday about, Aaron Rodgers being the last quarterback standing in the AFC North, pretty much, trying to jinx Rodgers that he'll get hurt. So I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to predict the Steelers to win the North yet. I'm not going to predict them to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Hell, I'm not even going to predict that they're going to win both of these games in the next 10 days against the 2 Ohio teams. If there's anything we've learned over years and years of watching Pittsburgh Steelers football, it is, do not think that you 100% are going to walk into an in-division game and walk out the winner. I would not be surprised if both of those games turn into ugly rock fights in the mud where, whoever has the ball less or gets into field goal range last wins. So I'm not going to say any of that. I'm not going to jinx it. We're just going to take the weekend, the good weekend that we had. Steelers winning, all 3 AFC North teams losing. We're going to take all of that, all the positives, smile, celebrate this victory Monday, and then after this live stream tonight, reset the old, mental batteries here and start over, because all that matters is that you go into a week looking for a win and you walk out of that week 1-0. So good weekend for the Steelers. Going to move on here in a matter of moments. 10, 11 of you in here right now. Welcome to the live stream, talking about the crazy bye-week weekend for the Pittsburgh Steelers and how well they made out. They just got to sit back, kick up their feet in the recliner for, I'd say a solid, 10 hours from 9:30 till the end of the Bengals-Lions game, and we got to see all 3 AFC North teams lose. So with that, going to go to the comments section right now. 11 of you in here, please do not hesitate to get those comments in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Like, share this live stream. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on the following 3 social media platforms. To the comment section we go. Extra BLK again. The Ravens' problems have 3 guys on the O-line as bad as Broderick Jones. Yeah, and Ronnie Stanley being out does not help. I thought the Ravens' offensive line might have been, one of their strongest units. I like Ronnie Stanley. Linderbaum is an underrated guy. I like that Voorhees, their guard, who, kind of redshirted coming out of the draft a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's not been good sledding on the Ravens in any sort of front. I mean, quarterback is injured, wide receivers and tight ends. I mean, how many targets are they going to get from Cooper Rush? They even had one game, I believe they lost it, or maybe they won it. I don't know, where Zay Flowers didn't even get a catch. Derrick Henry, I mean, I think he took off his forearm sleeves here, but he has fumbleitis. Over on defense, defensive line's banged up. Nnamdi Madubuike done for the year. Linebackers, no Kyle Van Noy, no Roquan Smith, which even, when Roquan is healthy, I've heard he's been missing his Robin in Patrick Queen, which kind of begs you the question, who was the Batman and who was the Robin in that scenario? And then DBs, I mean, I think Kyle Hamilton is still healthy, but no Marlon Humphrey, no Nate Wiggins. So your top corner left for the Ravens right now is Jair Alexander. And the thing that he's worried about the most is stopping Texans wide receiver from doing the Ray Lewis dance after scoring a touchdown. So, yeah, nothing good going on the Ravens front right now. Lance 33 in the comments section. Welcome back, Lance. Glad to have you here. Horrible Bills color rush uniforms last night. Yeah, weren't my favorite, color rush unis. Though I did hear the question, and it made me laugh. They sort of did a whiteout theme last night. The Bills did up in Buffalo. Who had the worst whiteout game within the past, week and change? The Bills or the Penn State Nittany Lions? Both. Pretty bad. But hey, Stephon Diggs gets his revenge last night. It's great to see that the Bills are mortal. If you can stifle Josh Allen, you might be able to stifle that whole team. That's the way I see it there. Lance, exactly. We go up against Garrett, and he might kill A-Rod. Yeah, whatever the Vikings did to hold Myles Garrett to no sacks yesterday, I want a copy and paste job of that. I think as much as Broderick Jones, I think, has improved, especially in the past couple of games for the Steelers, I'm still very much on board with seeing another, 45, even more snap count for Darnell Washington on the left side of that offensive line coming up this weekend against the Browns. So we're double teaming Myles Garrett. We'll figure out the rest beyond there. I mean, you'll have Zach Frazier, I think, lined up one-on-one with Mason Graham, and then you can sort of, patchwork whoever you line up against on that Browns D-line. So, yeah, stop Garrett. I think you can do good things on this Browns defense, but let's see, if the Steelers are going to be able to continue that momentum that they build up through the bye week here. Lance here. Genius NFL schedules a Steelers road division game on a short week after playing a division game. Yeah, but at least it's after a bye, so, I'm at least grateful for that. Also, I'm not going to complain too much about that there, Lance, because the Steelers, yeah, it's back-to-back divisional games, and one of them's on a short week, but at least the team you're playing out of the bye in the Browns, they're coming back from London without any break whatsoever, so that's an advantage Steelers in that category, though. So that's interesting. Flacco, welcome back, Flacco. I'm afraid of the Browns D-line. Yeah, they are a worrisome unit. As much as, we've given the offensive line kudos, and they're coming off of easily their best game of the season against the Vikings last weekend. Yeah, first and foremost, we're focusing on how can we stop this Browns pass rush. You might see a similar strategy that they used against the Patriots, where we get some screens going, get the ball quickly out of Aaron Rodgers' hand. Hell, I think in Dublin, They said he had the quickest, or one of the quickest snap to throw times ever. I think it was like 2.17 seconds the ball was getting out of Rodgers' hands. So expect, quick game stuff again offensively for the Steelers coming up here against the Browns at least. And then you might, be able to do some different stuff against the Bengals here. Flacco again was hoping they didn't kick their feet up and grab a wide receiver. Yeah, they could use a wide receiver, but hey, we're heading into what now, week 6? Trade deadline's coming up at week 8. If the Steelers, they handle business against the two teams that they really should in the Bengals and the Browns, it'll be probably ugly divisional games, but they ultimately should win these games. They do that. You head into the trade deadline, 5-1. Everyone else in your division is way down there. Steelers, they could see it. I'm sure Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers, they might see it saying, hey, we pretty much got the division locked up before November here. Let's go out, get a big ticket wide receiver, Jacoby Myers, who I really like still, Chris Olave, someone of that ilk. Go out, get one of those guys. Let's go all in and let's push here for the playoffs, get hot or stay hot as we reach the latter stages of the season. Lance 3-3 here again. First time in many years the Ravens have bad interior line play on both sides of the ball. Yeah, as much as we hate them, at least talking about, the AFC North here, Steelers fans, and if there are any Ravens fans watching this right now, I think we can agree we hate each other's guts out, but at least we respect each other. The Browns and the Bengals, they're just a little brother. We could, whatever with them. But Ravens, Steelers, that is a respect built in through animosity and hate. And on cue, Flacco comes in, boo Ravens. But yeah, the Ravens, in the Steelers for years, they were built on winning the trenches, trench warfare. Steelers, they've had their fair share of blemishes and downfalls on the offensive and defensive line in recent years. And now apparently it's the Ravens who are going through that same cycle. Extra here again. If, and I say if, the Steelers have to trade a player to get a top wide receiver, which player you think gets traded, Highsmith or Freiermuth? Neither. Neither, because, I know I'm, sort of not, answering your hypothetical question here. But as much as, Nick Herbig is, I think, giving Highsmith a run for his money as the starting right outside linebacker, and as much, or I should really say as little, as Pat Freiermuth is not being used offensively right now. If the Steelers are sitting at, 5-1 here in 2 weeks, and they're at the trade deadline, trying to get a top wide receiver, you can never have too much of a good thing. I don't think that they're going to get rid of any of those guys, because knowing our luck, as soon as the Steelers were to trade Highsmith or Freiermuth, then let's just say they trade Highsmith to the New Orleans Saints and get Chris Olave. Wouldn't you know it? Next thing you know, Nick Herbig goes down with a hamstring pull. TJ Watt has another ankle injury of some sort. Then all of a sudden, you're left to Jack Sawyer and a bunch of, practice squad guys filling that in. So I know I didn't, technically answer your question there, extra, but Highsmith or Freiermuth, I don't think either of them are going to get traded. If that does happen, that would be an off-season move. But, if I had to choose one, like, off-season wise that I could see get traded, I hate it. And I know my dad, who is a big fan of Highsmith, would hate me saying this. I'd probably say Highsmith, because Herbig, he's going to be due a big boy bag of money here soon. And if he keeps on, every other time he's in there getting the pressure on the quarterback, stripping the ball away, stuff like that, then he is going to need to get paid by the Steelers. They are not going to, they cannot afford to let him walk out of the building. So if I had to guess which one could eventually get traded, probably go with Highsmith there, because, you're going to need to find the money for Nick Herbig somehow, some way. Lance here again. Whichever gets us a little sweetener with the deal is who I would move, says Lance. Flacco, sorry, it's the Ravens. I like King Henry and Lamar, but I'll never wish them the best. I'm not wishing them the best either. I'm just saying I respect them. I hope they lose every single game the rest of this season. But I will say, if I had to choose, would I rather watch a good game, the Steelers versus any of these other, AFC North teams? I pick the Ravens because that is just, you're going to see an absolute brawl day in, day out between those two teams. And on cue, my dad there, you just had to say it. I'm sorry. I'm speaking with the head here and not the heart. I like Highsmith as much as the next guy here, and I still think, he's going to be here beyond this season, but I'm just answering the question here. Extra here. It's better to trade too soon than too late. I would definitely trade Highsmith for Calvin Ridley ASAP. Oh, well, you say that. Who is it? Flacco in here? Not a big Calvin Ridley guy. At this point, I'm just taking anyone who's like a brand name receiver around the league. You can give me Calvin Ridley or Olave, Myers. I'm not desperate enough yet to say, screw it, just give me Alan Lazard. But as long as it's someone that you've heard of before that has had success in the league and that can, in a pinch, fill in as a WR1 if Metcalf goes down, I'm all for that. Flacco here. We see Highsmith for like 6 games a year, unfortunately. Andy's so good. Freaking health, man. Yeah, that's kind of another reason why I go and say, Highsmith would be the one traded over Freiermuth. Health is a thing. And I know, people could throw back at me, well, hey, Nick Herbig, he gets injury prone all the time too. Same thing with TJ Watt. But Highsmith, I mean, I feel for the guy because he is reaching like Corey Trice territory in terms of maybe you see him for a game or two and then he gets injured. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he stays healthy and just kills it. And yeah, reason why I say that, I think last week on the channel, was linebacker coach Denzel Martin for the Steelers. He said that we could see a 3 OLB deployment of Herbig, Highsmith, and Watt when they're all 3 healthy. I just hope that we get there. Flacco again, there it is. Expensive ass Ridley. Deontay is a cheap version. Yeah, well, fortunately, I don't think Ridley or Deontay are going to be a Steeler anytime soon, in my opinion. I think Ridley, price tag too expensive, contract-wise first, but also are the Titans really going to want to take away a veteran pass catcher and a half-decent one at that away from their rookie quarterback? And then Deontay, who the hell knows where Deontay Johnson is right now? He is completely fallen off the face of the earth. Lance 3-3 here. Linebacker room is really stacked this year, which is a good problem to have. Exactly what I'm saying, and that's why I apologize extra. I didn't, kind of answer your question. You can never have too much of a good thing, especially with the Steelers right now. You got Highsmith, Watt, Herbig, Jack Sawyer. That is probably, no, as a matter of fact, that is easily the most stacked OLB room that I can remember for the Steelers since they were legitimately, in their prime Super Bowl contention era. And then the inside linebacker room, Queen, Holcomb, Peyton Wilson looks like he might be turning a corner here. Carson Bruner, Malik Harrison, hopefully he can get healthy soon. So, linebacker having that stacked up, good problem to have. Lance, how is Minka doing? Have not seen him play this year. I have not, unless, the Dolphins have been on a primetime game from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, sounds like Minka's playing exactly how we expected Minka to play. He unfortunately looks like he is continuing to lose a step down there in Miami. I don't know if that's, actually him playing bad or if it's, just being a product of the environment around you with the Dolphins being ass right now. So, Minka not doing too well. If the Steelers were inquiring about Tyreek Hill, why not Calvin Ridley? I agree there, extra. I would take Calvin Ridley. I just don't think it's likely right now. However, he's probably, well, I don't want to say top 3 because also there's a ton of other icky stuff. Well, not like bad icky, but it's not all roses and flowers in the Eagles wide receiver room right now. So I would say, out of realistic possibilities, Ridley would be in my at least top 5 with the likes of Jacoby Myers and Tyreek Hill, but he's probably more 5 than he is 1, in my opinion there. Extra. And then Flacco, at least OBJ can catch. You've been really pushing about OBJ just as much as you are anti-Calvin Ridley. If the Steelers, wanted OBJ, he'd be here right now. That's all I'm saying on that front. But wide receiver, still going to be a topic for us, up until probably even past the trade deadline, until they bring in someone. It's going to be a talking point. So we'll see what comes of that. Calvin Ridley plays for the 1-4 Titans. Yeah, if he wants out, I'd give him, a call. But so does Chris Olave play on the 1-4 Saints now. Still amazed that they beat the Giants. I thought that was funny. And then Jacoby Myers, the Raiders, are they still winless on the season? Or they might have one win, I think, in week 1. So Ridley, Myers. If the Eagles are serious about offloading one of those 2 wide receivers, Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, I consider it. Chris Olave. Yeah, lots of wide receiver talk that I'm sure we are going to continue talking about here for the foreseeable future. Speaking of wide receivers, we do have a couple of injury updates, including wide receiver Calvin Austin, ladies and gentlemen. Going to keep things moving along here on the channel tonight. Please go hit the subscribe button, like this live stream, share this live stream. Real quick, just had a couple of posts pulled up here. Forgot to put this one up in the first segment there, but just thought this was great. Pretty much our whole feeling of the weekend right here with Mr. Ayahuasca himself, Aaron Rodgers. Look at those beautiful, beautiful scores right there. Browns choked. Ravens didn't even show up. Bengals, garbage time touchdowns. Love seeing it. Love seeing it. Anyway, we are going to move into the extra Pittsburgh sports news or not the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment. Holy hell, I'm getting way ahead of myself. We are going to move into the injury report for the Steelers. They are back on the south side of Pittsburgh today. They all pretty much had the entire week off since they came back from Dublin. There was from Wednesday to Friday, little news whatsoever on the Steelers. But today, back in the building. I'm sure we will hear from Mike Tomlin tomorrow for his annual press conference. But today, even though there was no official injury report, we did get an update on some injured players. You see one right there. We were just talking about him. Alex Highsmith back practicing today for the black and gold. I believe he's coming off of a high ankle sprain, so looked to be moving all right there. I think he, already at least a light practice here on a Monday, which is, I think they're just saying it's an extra off day or an extra day of work off the bye. Him out there moving today, at least in a limited capacity, that's a good sign that he could be suiting up against the Browns this upcoming weekend. Another good sign also working today, Jaylen Warren. Think we can confirm that the Steelers did just hold him out for precautionary reasons against the Vikings in Dublin. He running through the dummy drills today. Looks healthy with whatever small knee thing he had going on, so he'll be playing definitely. One guy who confirmed that he will be playing. Welcome back to the secondary, Mr. Joey Porter Jr. was asked if he was good to go after missing 3 games with a hamstring injury. He said, yeah, definitely, I'm back surely. Outstanding sign right there because, no Jalen Ramsey, of course. We talked about that. He with a hamstring strain, which I think Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said it's, technically a tear. So I think, Jalen Ramsey's going to miss every bit of those more than a few games that Dulac listed out, that Dulac said last Monday. So getting Porter back to kind of fill that Ramsey role is huge. Also, last couple of injury updates here. Don't think we have any updates on, guys who could be maybe opening up their windows to return from IR. Corey Trice, Will Howard, those type of guys. Dante Kent. Do not think we have any updates on those guys yet. We might get so tomorrow if the question is brought up in the Mike Tomlin press conference. But last one here, Calvin Austin. We were just talking about him a moment ago. He said that he's not sure if injured reserve is a possibility for him with his shoulder injury, but he's trusting the plan from the team, taking it one day at a time, as he did with his oblique injury in the preseason. So Highsmith, Warren, Porter, those three looking like all three of those guys should be back here on Sunday. Austin, still day-to-day, could be going to IR, could not. If he does, then that just heightens the need to go get a wide receiver too even more. So Austin, I expect him to at least miss this Browns game. Ramsey, you might be seeing him even past the Cincinnati game 10 days from now. So we will continue to monitor these injury updates throughout the week, see how they progress heading into the Browns game. Couple of other notes from Steelers practice, just small ones here. The saga of Aaron Rodgers seeking a new helmet, that continues. He, I think, testing another helmet today, said he did not like the one he's been wearing. Well, this one here, he was spotted wearing today. I could have swore he wore something, similar to this before, but I guess I'm mistaken there. So we'll see what comes of that. Also, the smallest of small notes here, Steelers signing 2 players to their practice squad. I think at some point last week they had like 5 safeties in to work out. They ended up signing 1, Jack Henderson, to the practice squad. Also talking about getting a insurance plan for Calvin Austin being out as a not only a wide receiver, but as a return man on special teams. The Steelers also signed Raheem Blackshear, former Carolina Panther. I've heard of him before, running back, kick returner. So might see him get elevated on game day for as long as Calvin Austin is out to be a returner. Like the sounds of that right there. 12 of you in here right now, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, like, share, and leave a comment in the comments section. Listen to Lance right here. Hit the like button, everyone. Help grow the channel. Would appreciate it. Quick subscriber count. We came into this live stream today, I think 566, now up to 568. So I cannot see who it is that subscribed, but I very, very much appreciate those 2 new subscribers here so far today. Flacco reacting to the video there. LOL. Sleeveless jerseys. Were they sleeveless? I didn't even, really pay attention to that. I think they just rolled them up. They're, high cut jerseys. There's a little bit of, black trim there that kind of serves as the sleeves, though I'm sure they roll them up as best as they can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to, before we get back into, I'm sure, some football chat later on in the live stream, we are going to switch gears a little bit here, and let's talk about the local hockey team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Opening night, tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all join me back here then. We will be live tomorrow night, Penguins and Rangers. Let me get the stuff off the screen right there. If you go to the channel right now, go ahead, hit that notification button so that you will know the instant that I am live tomorrow night for that game. Penguins on the road against the New York Rangers. They will be in Madison Square Garden. tomorrow night. That game probably around an 8:07 puck drop, if I had to guess. That will be a nationally televised game, so it might even be later than that. I know ESPN has a triple header of hockey games starting at 5 tomorrow evening for opening night. But Sidney Crosby and the youth infused Pittsburgh Penguins, we're going to get to that here in a matter of moment. They go with the new head coach, Dan Muse, up to the Garden to take on old coach Mike Sullivan and his new team that he is coaching now, the New York Rangers. So I hope you all join me back here tomorrow night. We will be live for that game. Come on back. Be my first time, I think, reacting live to and commentating a hockey game. So I hope I do all right for you guys there. But anyways, talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins and some news around them, they, within the past 24 hours, finalizing their roster for this opening night game. We are going to talk about it here a little bit. Before we do that, Pens wrapped up their preseason Friday night. They had pretty much a full dress rehearsal. Crosby, Raquel, Carlson, Letang, Malkin, all those guys playing. Might have had a couple of guys, competing on the bottom 6 in defense for roster spots. But I think, what we saw Friday was pretty much how they're going to roll into Madison Square Garden. The Pens in that game Friday night against the Buffalo Sabres, 1 point in the game, down 3-1. Tristan Jarry letting in 3 goals for the Pens. So not completely sold on him yet as the team's goaltender heading into the season. The lone goal for the Pens in that 3-1 deficit, Philip Tomasino, an odd-looking goal, got tripped up as he was, carrying the puck, driving towards the crease. Got tripped up, he goes down, collides with the goalie, but because the Buffalo player knocks him down and the puck slides into the net, they counted it as a goal. Thought that was interesting. After that, Tristan Jarry letting up the third goal, 16 saves on 19 shots for him. Sergei Murashov, the young, talented Russian goaltender for the Penguins, came in, and after he came in, Pens all of a sudden got a little mojo. Harrison Brunick, another young guy, defenseman. I still very, very high on this kid. Think he could be an heir to the throne of the likes of Chris Letang and Erik Karlsson when their time on the team comes to pass. Brunick, outstanding goal, just undresses 2 Buffalo defenders in a tight area, walks down the boards, drives into the net, and from the goal line, sharp angle shot, beats the goaltender Alex Lyon high. So hell of a goal from that kid. Hopefully he continues it. Very impressed by him. Buffalo did make it 4-2, but then the Pens, they stormed back. Rickard Rakell, power play goal with 13 minutes, 15 seconds left in the game. And then Sidney Crosby. I think this might have been on the power play as well. Crosby does Crosby things. Loose puck, able to tuck it in on the short side behind the out of position goaltender Lyon. Tied up the game at 4-4. On to overtime they went. Took all of 9 seconds for Erik Karlsson and Sidney Crosby to connect on the game winner. Sid wins the faceoff. Karlsson takes it right down the left side of the ice. Feeds Sid for a backdoor. Pretty easy tap in right there. Pens win it 5-4 in their final preseason game. They wrap up the preseason 5-1-1. After the game, Pens head coach Dan Muse said that there was going to be a lot of conversations Friday night and over the weekend with GM Kyle Dubas. They had some hard decisions to make finalizing this roster, and those decisions were made Saturday afternoon. This is the roster moves here that the Pens made to cut down their roster. Tristan Brose, still high on that kid as a prospect. Thought he had a good chance to make the team out of training camp. Came up just short. Same thing with Avery Hayes. I think you could very easily see those 2 forwards in the NHL at some point this season. Sergei Murashov pretty much had little chance to make the team. The more clear as the preseason went on, it was going to be Tristan Jarry and Arturs Shalovs as the two NHL goaltenders. And with the injury to Yoel Blomqvist, Miroshov, I'm okay with him going to the AHL for now to start. It's going to be his net. He can get more experience down there before he comes up to the NHL. And I think, with how talented Miroshov is, don't want to rush him too much here to the NHL. Let him get a little bit more seasoning in the minors, because when that kid ultimately comes up to the NHL, I don't want him to go back down. So Miroshov, he goes down to the AHL. The last of the prospects to get sent down to the minors on Saturday, Owen Pickering, a little disappointed in him. I thought he had a golden opportunity to solidify his spot on the opening night roster. I mean, looking at the left side of the Penguins defense, not really too much tough competition there at all. I think pretty much the only solidified left defenseman that the Pens had coming into training camp was Parker Wotherspoon, who they brought in free agency. And even then, Wotherspoon, he isn't, some sort of elite left shot defenseman. I mean, Pickering, he was going up against the likes of Ryan Graves, Ryan Shea, trying to think, Caleb Jones, and he couldn't beat those guys out. So a little disheartening there that Pickering couldn't make the team out of camp. These guys here that I'm about to say got put on waivers. They did clear waivers, and they are in Wilkes-Barre now. Alexander Alexeyev, Raphael Harvey-Pinard, Sam Poulin, those three pretty much, I think, were fighting an uphill battle to make the team. Boko Amama, thought he was dealing with a little bit of an injury thing to begin training camp. That might be the reason why he got sent down. And the final of the guys to get put on waivers, Ryan Graves, no longer on the NHL roster, ladies and gentlemen. So Graves, after signing that mega free agent contract 2 years ago, now down on the farm in Wilkes-Barre with 4 years at $4.5 million per year. He's going to be sitting in the minors. So that ugly-ass free agent signing just looks even more and more ugly. Not talking about the physical appearance here of Graves, of course, just talking about the contract itself. The last roster move from Saturday, Robbie Fabry, forward, who was here on a PTO, thought he had, a half-decent chance to make the team on that tryout contract. He got released and was sent on his way. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, the final roster of the Penguins is set. And with that, for the first time since, let me see here, 2006, the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to have on their opening night roster two rookies who will make their NHL debut. Couldn't be more happy that these two kids are on the roster, but Harrison Brunick and Ben Kindle, they make the opening night roster for the Pens. Outstanding training camp, outstanding preseason from both of them. Sure, both of them have their warts, but they have just flashed too bright for you to, stick them in the minors or send them back to their junior teams. So very, very happy that these two are getting their chance in the NHL. Just talking here about Kindle a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna hide away from it. I'm not gonna shy away from it. And I say that because there aren't too many Pittsburgh Penguins fans who were not in my boat to begin with. I think we can all say draft night when the Pens took Kindle 11th overall, we were like, why the hell are we taking this kid who on most draft boards was like the 22nd ranked prospect? Why are we taking him at 11? He's 5'11", hasn't developed his skating yet. He'll get knocked off the puck easily. Why are we getting an undersized forward this early? I'm going to admit it. And tons of other Penguins fans have done the same thing as me. We were down on the pick, but Kindle, he has shut us up in a big way. He was outstanding this preseason, really proved that his size, that was, just a number, was very in the mix in all three zones of the ice. Hound on the puck, And yeah, just great stuff from him. Showed great stuff skating as well in this preseason finale Friday night against the Sabres. I mean, sure, he had a giveaway that led to a Sabres goal, but was out there, did some more good stuff. Every time the puck touches his stick blade, he just has that it thing where you're like, all right, what's he going to do with this? It's got to be something good. Was killing penalties as well, and also got a couple of shifts with Sid. So Kindle, he's going to be up here to start the year. Couldn't be any more happy with that. Same thing for Harrison Brunick. Pretty much a similar thing. I thought he could have made the team, honestly, out of training camp last season, but now he's going to get his time with the team here. Both will be in the lineup tomorrow night, according to head coach Dan Muse. So that is good. They will make their NHL debuts together. The first duo to do so since Jordan Stahl and Chris Letang. Weren't they quite the center defenseman duo? First duo to debut together since those two legends back in 2006. And then before those two, Mario Lemieux, Doug Bodger in 1984. So great company Harrison Brunick and Ben Kindle are keeping there. Just a couple of other, noteworthy makes to the roster, guys who are on the fringe, not, obvious guys like Crosby and Malkin and stuff like that. Blake Lizotte, Noel Acciari, they both make the opening night roster. I think they were fighting off some kids like Tristan Brose for, fourth line spots on the opening night roster. Another prospect who I did not mention, and I feel kind of bad because he was having just as good of a preseason as Brunick and Kindle, but because he isn't, thought of as a higher tier prospect, he got overlooked. Philip Hollander comes back to the Penguins from a couple years in the Swedish Hockey League, lit it up over in Sweden in the preseason, produced just as well, so he made the team. Defensively, really just one surprise make, in my opinion, and that is Caleb Jones as a left shot defenseman here. Got paired with Chris Letang there for a couple of preseason game and practices. I have no clue why he's here. I'd rather give that spot to an Owen Pickering or something like that. Didn't see really in preseason what he brought to the table, but hey, maybe he can prove me wrong. But good news is, first and foremost, you see it there, Ben Kindle, Harrison Brunick, they make the opening night rosters, and they're going to get their 9-game look in the NHL. For those of you who do not know, I said it before on the channel, I'll say it again, those two, because they are still prospects, still teenagers, they will get 9 games to, show what they got. And then after those 9 games, the team, Kyle Dubas, he will either have the decision to keep them for the entire year and shave off a year of their rookie contract, or send them back to their junior team. So they're getting their 9-game look. Love that. By then, you'll either get a hard yes or a hard no on those two. Then, say both of them get sent back to their junior teams. After that, you should be approaching territory where you can get back some injured guys like Kevin Hayes, Rutger McGroarty, those two guys, forwards. They've been out for a majority of the preseason. Maybe Owen Pickering or Ryan Graves figures it out in the AHL. They can come back up for Brunick then. But for the most part, looking at that roster, the opening night roster for the Pens, the right guys are who deserve and have earned to be in the NHL through the preseason. They are on the team to start the season. Just a couple other things here on the Pens. They have had some practices since they finalized their rosters. Line pairings at practice this morning for the Pens. Billy Koivunen, Sidney Crosby, Ricard Raquel is your top line. Koivunen, I think, more or less filling in for Brian Rust, though he is a hell of a talent, hell of a kid who I think is not going to be seeing the AHL ever again. Even when Russ does come back, even still as a young kid like a Brunick and a Lazat, or like a Brunick and a Kindle, yeah, he's not going to go anywhere. He is a hell of a player. I see shades of Jake Gensel in him. Second line, Anthony Mantha, Evgeny Malkin, Justin Brazeau, the skyscraper line right there. Smallest guy on that line, I think, is Malkin at 6'4", I believe. So those three big bodies together. Will that line stay together throughout the season? I doubt it. I'd like to put a, goal scorer type player on that line with Malkin, not, two grinders like Mantha and Brazeau. Third line, Ben Kindle, centering Tommy Novak and Philip Tomasino. I'm sure Novak might cycle in there as a center every now and again. And then the fourth line, Connor Dewar, Blake Lizotte, Noel Acciari. Really, that's your, fourth line. Just buy time for the top three lines to catch their win. Mainly penalty killers and such on that line. Philip Hollander, the odd man out in practice today. The Penguins' defensive pairings today, they did, forgot to mention, they did carry 8 defensemen onto their opening night roster. Parker Wotherspoon, Erik Karlsson, no surprise in that pairing there. Ryan Shea paired with Chris Letang, like that, more than, Caleb Jones or Connor Clifton being paired with Letang. I like Ryan Shea with Tanger. And then the last two pairings here, Clifton was with Matt Dumba, Caleb Jones was with Harrison Brunick. Those two defensive pairings were rotating around, to see, which pairing did what in practice today. Though with Brunick making his debut, I wonder, is Caleb Jones going to be his partner? Is Dumba or Clifton going to be his partner? Who knows? But Brunick, he will be in the lineup tomorrow night, so we know 5 of the 6 defensemen will play. That 6th defenseman we do not know right now. Of course, the goaltenders, Jari Shalovs. Power play units for the Pens at practice today. No changes to the top unit. Crosby, Karlsson, Letang, Malkin, Raquel. Power play unit 2, Justin Brazeau, Philly Koivunen, Anthony Mantha, Tommy Novak, Harrison Brunick. Young offensive mind. Love seeing him as the quarterback on the second power play unit right now. Mantha, by the way, 6'5", 240. Remember, I said he was on that big line with Malkin and Brazeau. They put him in the front of the net on that second power play unit. So putting a big guy like that in front of the opposing goaltender, I'm all for it. Last note here from the Pens practice today, and last note on the main Pens news of the day altogether. Rucker McGroarty, Jack St. Ivany, 2 injured young players for the Pens. They were watching practice today in gym clothes from either the bench or outside the glass. So those 2 not back to skating yet with the team. Hopefully their ailments will be healed up soon. But that does it for the Pens. Their main news for the day, rosters. The opening night roster finalized. Like I said, opening night tomorrow night, 8 p.m. against, I'd say, probably their most hated division rival. I think the Rangers have surpassed the Washington Capitals at this point and have barely, just because, the Flyers have been kind of bad for, the past half decade. The Rangers, I'd say, they have just passed the Flyers as the most hated team in the division. New York Islanders, they're up there too. But yep, tomorrow night, Pens Rangers. Pens, they just left this afternoon, hopping on the jet to New York. So we will see what happens with them tomorrow. 7 of you in here right now, please hit that subscribe button. Jack Man in here, want the middle image in the thumbnail. Middle image in the thumbnail. Yeah, go give me a follow there, Jack, on Instagram or something. I will send it to you. As a matter of fact, I might have that here, that middle image that you like. I got that off of a Twitter post here. There. Maybe if you go give me a follow on on Instagram or something like that. There, Jack. I might find it again and send it to you. If not, I hope you find it. But yeah, sick picture right there, and that is the state of the AFC North. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 7 of you in here right now, going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here in a moment. Before we do that, real quick, just going to take a stroll here through Twitter. We've been live for over an hour now. Let's see if we got any new news to catch up on that we have not addressed since we have been live. Seeing a picture here of someone saying the 2018 draft class turned out to be outstanding. Yeah. Mayfield, Barkley, Darnold, Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson, Josh Allen, Roquan Smith, Minka, Vita Vea, Colton Miller, DJ Moore, Frank Ragnow. Yep, and then Lamar Jackson to finish it all out. Just let's kind of forget who the Steelers picked in that first round. One Terrell Edmonds. Taking a look here, seeing the someone post out there the Columbus Blue Jackets lineup heading into this year. Zach Aston Reese, former Penguin, on that team, so he is still in Columbus. I was wondering where he was a couple of days ago. Man, they got an underrated team. I mean, still my heart breaks that they lost Johnny Gaudreau senselessly a couple of years ago, but that lineup they got, not, any mega star power there, but they got a solid group. I will say that. Looking here, seeing if there's anything else. Got a picture of Evgeny Malkin on his way to the plane for the Pens, looking fly as ever. It's gonna be a night for him tomorrow night. Talking, of course, on the channel, we cannot be forgetting that this could be the final season for Evgeny Malkin, at least in the Pittsburgh Penguins, depending on which way the team is heading. So we could be looking at the final season opener for Evgeny Malkin tomorrow night. Hopefully that is not the case. In my opinion, I'd like to see Gino play another year beyond this if he's producing. All right, on to the extra Pittsburgh sports news for the day right now. Going to get back into football a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple of extra things on the Steelers here. Patrick Queen and Jalen Ramsey, couple of ominous tweets from them over the weekend. Patrick Queen on Friday or Saturday posting to Twitter, this is 3 hourglass emojis, making everyone wonder, okay, what's going on with Queen. I don't think that's the first time he's done that. I think he's done that before, but tons of people were speculating what that was, even going to the point like, oh, Patrick Queen says a wide receiver trade is coming soon. We just talked about that. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jacoby Myers, Chris Olave, something like that. As for Ramsey, though, Jalen Ramsey, he posted, God is the greatest through all. Like that tweet from Ramsey. Religious man there. I like that. But also, does that post potentially have another meaning? Could that mean something maybe about his injury, his hamstring injury? Could he have, gotten better news than it on the injury than he expected? Worser news than he expected? Who knows? I just thought that those were two interesting tweets from two Steeler players right there. Last piece of Steelers news here for today. I think I began the live stream tonight with talking about how my weekend went personally with sports outside the Pittsburgh realm. Talking about college football and the Steelers. They were interested in a college game this weekend just as much as any of us. At least one scout for the Steelers was confirmed at the Penn State Nittany Lions versus the UCLA Bruins on Saturday. That's at least according to Alan Saunders, the second time that the Steelers have had scouts at games involving Drew Aller for Penn State and Nico Iamaleava for UCLA. So interesting. Steelers got to look at those two quarterbacks. Honestly, going back, I think a month from now, I'd say that I'd 99% take one quarterback over the other. And now that take has completely done a 180, where now I'm taking the other one over the first one. So, yeah, that's that there. Just a couple of extra Penguins stories here for today. Hockey stories in general, for the most part. Cool thing here that the Pittsburgh Penguins are doing. They announcing today that Marc-Andre Fleury's game-used jersey that he wore in that preseason game for his farewell last weekend, that is up for auction right now. And it says bid now here. I'm going to click on this link. I just want to see what the bid is. I bet it's high. Auction begins. No, it says the auction begins now. I got to log into my account to make bids. No, wait, here's the bid. Jeez. I'm going to assume that there is no decimal point before that second zero. If there is no decimal point here, $650,000 for Marc-Andre Fleury's jersey. That is the current bid right now. 7 bids. I do not see a decimal point anywhere in there, so that is $650K right now for Flowers' jersey. Jeez. I think they're, an extra $100K away from having 1 year of a, league minimum contract for an NHL player bid on that jersey. Damn. $650K for Marc-Andre Fleury's game-used jersey, the last jersey he wore in an NHL game, even though it was the preseason. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Hope whoever buys that enjoys it, because that's a lot of money right there. Anyways, back into some extra hockey news here for a second. Today, some big NHL news, national news. Probably the biggest news in the NHL for the offseason comes in at the buzzer today. The Edmonton Oilers signing Connor McDavid to a 2-year extension, making $12.5 million per year. So a couple of interesting notes there. One, McDavid does get his extension, but still benefits him because, gives him still, if things continue to not go well in Edmonton, he could, get out and still be in some sort of his prime. Also, that shoots down the pipe dream of the Penguins having an immaculate 3-headed monster at center next year, potentially. I think, I saw someone come up with it, or I might even came up with it myself. Imagine if the Penguins just had a completely terrible year, where if Evgeny Malkin retires or something like that, the Pens get the first overall pick, draft Gavin McKenna, and at the same time, Connor McDavid goes to free agency. The Penguins, with a ton of cap space that they've built up, throw a bag at him, and then they got their 3 centers in the middle of their lineup: Crosby, McKenna, and McDavid. So there goes that pipe dream of all pipe dreams out the window. Also, McDavid not getting even close to $17 million a season like Kirill Kaprizov did with the Wild. So I guess he, kind of took a pay cut for the Oilers. Speaking of pay cuts, Sidney Crosby, he has done that his entire career. So we are very, very grateful for him doing that. $8.7 million a year. Can't forget the total money he's making. He, by the way, Crosby, just today, the NHL announcing their top 10 centers in the NHL, or their top 10, or their top 50 players in the NHL, excuse me. And Sidney Crosby back in the top 10, number 7 on the NHL's top 50 players. I read that. Didn't really pay attention to where he was last year, but was number 11 last year. Honestly, until he retires, you do not take that man out of the top 10, in my opinion. By the way, also, NHL national insiders and talking heads, they're still pulling their BS, talking about potential Crosby trade rumors. Darren Dreger said about the Crosby trade speculation, undoubtedly, Sid had this conversation with his family and with his agent countless times over the offseason. The reality is setting in here. He's running out of opportunities, said Darren Dreger on Sidney Crosby trade speculations. I guess Sid wasn't clear when he, on the front lawn of some lucky season ticket holder who had Sid deliver tickets to them, I guess he wasn't clear enough when he said, I don't know how many times I can answer this. Crosby said that himself. He's not going anywhere, yet the Canadian media, it's them. Let's be honest. It's anyone affiliated with a Canadian media outlet. They want their wet dream of Crosby playing for any of the Canadian teams to come true. It's not going to happen. Give it up. Get over it. Life's hard. Life sucks. He's ours. Sorry, Mario Lemieux staying in Pittsburgh his entire career. It's going to happen again with Sid. Get over it. So, not going to commit any more breath or time to that statement. Last couple of things for hockey here. Speaking of Mario Lemieux, I was going to say this for last, but because he did his birthday over the weekend. So happy birthday to Lemieux, Penguins captain, 5-time Stanley Cup champion, player, owner, might be an owner again of the Penguins, who knows? But just so much that Lemieux has done in his life for the Penguins and for the city of Pittsburgh. We will not forget. So happy birthday to Lemieux. A couple of Penguins, or ex-Penguins, I should say, making NHL teams off of PTO contracts. Robbie Fabry did not make the Pens on his PTO, but a couple of ex-Penguins did around the league over the weekend. Pens defenseman from last year, Matt Grzelcyk, signing a 1-year, $1 million contract with the Chicago Blackhawks. Honestly, was surprised that he did not get picked up by any team early on in free agency, and that he had to play his way onto a team. I thought he had a hell of a year last year for the Pens, 40 points, 82 games. I mean, yeah, a little shocked, but hey, at least he landed on a team. Also, talking about the game coming up tomorrow night against the New York Rangers, the Rangers, they are about to get the full Mike Sullivan experience. I want to say it was midway through last week. The Rangers, they sent down 2 solid young prospects. Unlike what the Pens did, the Pens kept theirs. The Rangers sent theirs down. The Rags today, signing off of his PTO with the team, Connor Sherry, a 1-year deal with the Rangers. So Mike Sullivan, what do you know it? If there was some prop bet on the Rangers signing a former Pittsburgh Penguin after Sullivan was announced as the head coach, that would probably be like minus 10,000. So not shocking whatsoever. Connor Sherry now with the New York Rangers. Talking about prospects one last time here for the Penguins. Not only is Ben Kindle and Harrison Brunick shining right now for the NHL team, the Pens, they got some great stuff waiting for them for years to come in the prospect cabinet. Will Horkov, first-round pick, the third of the 3 first-round picks this past year's draft behind Ben Kindle and Bill Zonan for the Pens. He, with Michigan in the NCAA for hockey, 5 goals in his first 2 games of the season. He had a hat trick in the opening game for Michigan Friday, and then Saturday, 2 more goals in that contest. So he's off to a hot start. And then to the Sioux Greyhounds we go. Kyle Dubas territory there. Justin Chiron for, I believe he was a 5th-round pick in this year's draft for the Pens. In 8 games for the Sioux Greyhounds, 8 goals for him. So hell of a start there. Great stuff for the present. prospect-wise for the Pens and also for the future. They are off to Kyle Dubas. I cannot express how happy he has made us Pens fans restocking this absolutely bare Penguins prospect and draft pick cupboard in short order here. So hell of a job for him. Actually, here real quick, missed a couple of extra Penguins and Steelers news. To the Steelers, one real quick. Calvin Austin after practice today saying that DK Metcalf, we saw him last Sunday jawing with some Vikings players after a play. Apparently that was Metcalf standing up for Austin. When Austin got hurt, a Vikings player said something about Austin to Austin while he was down, and Metcalf took exception to that. So hell yeah, DK. And then the last extra Penguins news story here that I missed. We just talked about in the last preseason game, Ben Kindle playing with Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby, in his NHL career, accomplished the following prior to Ben Kindle being born on April 19th, 2007. When Ben Kindle was born, Sidney Crosby already had 222 points in 160 regular season games. He's already won the Art Ross Trophy for the league's top scorer, won the Hart for league MVP, and won the Ted Lindsay Award for most outstanding player. So, man, that's crazy. It tells you about the longevity of Sid, and I think we all can agree, if he wants to, he can be the Tom Brady of hockey and play till he's 45 if he wants to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news here. Not much on the Pittsburgh Pirates at all. Like I said, throughout a majority of the MLB offseason here, news on the Bucks. It's going to be few and far between if I had to guess. Got this from Friday, mentioned it in my SCSR 60 video, but I'll mention it again here because I think it's pretty big. A Pittsburgh City Council member, according to Chris Hoffman from KDKA, wants to meet with Pirates leadership after another losing season. The councilwoman wants to speak directly with Pirates owner Bob Nutting, asking or seeing what more can be done to get a winning product on the field. According to the council member, the more the team wins, the more revenue the city gets. No kidding right there. So Bob Nutting, the city of Pittsburgh wants to have a word about your atrocities against the city of Pittsburgh and this once very proud MLB franchise that one time was an all-time winning organization, and after a season from hell on and off the field, they now are officially a losing franchise. So also, shout out North Shore 9, Bob Nutting. Since he took over as the principal owner of the Pirates back in 2007, he has presided over 19 seasons as Pirates owner. And during that span, he has had a record of 1,354 wins and 1,619 losses, tied with the White Sox for the third worst winning percentage in Major League Baseball. Also, the Pirates, during Bob Nutting's ownership, they have had just 4 winning seasons. They have only reached the postseason 3 times, all via wild card. They've advanced to the NL Divisional Series once, and across that stretch, they have posted an outrageous negative 1,607 run differential. No wonder why the city of Pittsburgh wants to have a word with you. Now, I will say that Chris Hoffman, in the video he put out there, said that it's not going to be, a whole sell the team type of meeting between Bob and the Pittsburgh City Council. If one ever so happens, I mean, Nutting, he avoids any sort of media or meeting like Scrooge McDuck would avoid the tax collector here. So, we'll see if that meeting happens, but no wonder why the city wants to meet with him and ask him, what's going on? Why does the team suck? Why is it not generating revenue? Because he doesn't care. As long as he makes the money and is able to stuff it in his pocket, he ain't going to change. All right. To the comment section we go here. Concepts, appreciate the con check. Is JPJ really back? That's what he says there, Concepts. Welcome back. JPJ says he is 100% good to go. He's going to be in the game on Sunday. So if that's true and Mike Tomlin confirms it, going to be a very good sight for sore eyes, especially with Jalen Ramsey out. You need all the help you can get. Now, you're not going up against juggernaut teams without your best defensive back, but you need everyone else on top of their game until a guy like Ramsey gets back. Flacco here, can't wait for tomorrow night. Agreed, Flacco. Hockey, if I had to say, probably, I played it all my life growing up. Hockey, probably the sport that I'm most educated in, and it will be my first time live streaming a hockey game here, so I'm excited for it. I'm just excited for this, Penguins team in general. I mean, yes, they still widely around the league are viewed as a team that will finish near the bottom of the division, probably have middling odds at the, lottery for Gavin McKenna next offseason. But I think this team, they might open up a lot of eyes, and they might show not necessarily that, they're going to be a team that contends for the playoffs and is a Stanley Cup contender. But I think with the roster they have assembled, they first off, on paper, I think have one of the best rosters that they've had in quite some time, which is kind of ironic seeing how this is supposed to be a heavy rebuilding season. But I think the Pens, they probably won't show that they are going to be a team that is going to be competing for a championship within the next 2 to 3 years. But I think they can very much show that they are a team that isn't that far off of being a reckon for the rest of the league. So excited for tomorrow night. I think that's going to wrap things up here. Again, please come back tomorrow night. We will be live a little bit before 8 o'clock. Penguins, Rangers, opening night for the Pens there. Excited for that game. One final time, please subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Like this live stream, share this live stream, turn on notification, or leave a comment in the comment section after the fact. Thoughts, questions, opinions that you may have. I always see those. Leave those in there. I will at least give a like, maybe even respond to them. And lastly, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And be sure to come back later tonight. Tune in for a new edition of SCSR 60. That, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in here tonight. An hour and a half on live stream without the Steelers even playing. That is crazy. We'll be back tomorrow night for Penguins versus Rangers. Have not yet decided, though right now probably leaning towards that there will not be a news live stream like this tomorrow. We'll just have the live stream tomorrow night for the game. If there's a ton of Pittsburgh sports news, for the Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates, if there's a ton of news in general, then we might go live for maybe 45 minutes to an hour before the game tomorrow night. If not, we'll go live a little bit before 8 for Pens Rags, and we'll cover any other extra Pittsburgh sports news from the day, like on commercial breaks and intermissions and stuff. So with that, thank you for joining me. Have a good rest of your Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. Back here tomorrow night for Penguins versus Rangers. Hope you join me back here then. Hoping that it's a big live stream for my first ever hockey reaction and commentary here on the channel. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Monday night. Back here tomorrow. Peace.